If anyone had asked me 2 years ago what my life would look like today, I would have painted a perfect picture. A loving boyfriend, Jason Reed, my childhood sweetheart, a supportive family, a future I had worked tirelessly for. My name is Emily Carter, and my life didn't just twist, it shatters. It happened the night of Jason's birthday. I walked into his hotel suite with a cake, thinking I'd surprise him. Instead, I was the one surprised. Or should I say, destroyed, really. There he was, in bed, with my sister, Madison, my blood, my best friend, someone I thought was my ride or die. She stared at me like I was the intruder. Jason didn't even seem sorry, but rather annoyed that I had arrived too early. Standing at the hotel suite door, a huge war was going on in my brain. Should I confront them, or should I just walk away? Losing thoughts, Madison moved close to me and injected something into my neck. I didn't bother to know what Madison gave me because from the look in her eye, I knew it was not something good. I ran out of the hotel room. Few seconds later, my body was burning with heat as strong as volcanic lava. I could see 5 men walking toward me with a sinful smile on their faces. It was at this time my mind registered the plan Madison had for me. Just as I was helpless and lost at what to do, the door next to me opening and a thick, strong arm pulled me into the room. I knew the only person who could save me now was the man standing in front of me. I clung tightly to cold, marble-like skin, just as my survival instinct made me give up all resistance. Pain was accompanied by pleasure slowly rising, bit by bit like a firework display going off in my mind, making me feel like I was a lone boat in a sea of fire. Rising, then sinking, it was hard for me to free myself. That was the last thing I remembered from that night. When I woke up in the morning, my whole body ached from the activities of that night. Should I say that strange man saved me that night, or otherwise? Because I discovered I was pregnant 2 months later. I decided to keep the baby, but fate is even crueler than betrayal. One morning, I went to the hospital for a checkup. When I woke up after being heavily drugged during the supposed treatment, my baby was gone. They said it miscarried, but I knew my sister Madison had a hand in it. She would burn my world just to live in it. I got so tired about everything, so I left with nothing but a broken heart and a rage I never knew existed. 2 years later, I was barely surviving, working as a struggling actress, always pushed aside by Madison, who would become the rising star, using my identity and scripts meant for me. One night, after another failed audition, I saved a little boy who had run into the street. He was terrified, breathless, and clutching a tiny notebook covered in scribbles. He didn't speak, just stared at me with the saddest, most adorable eyes I'd ever seen. Then everything happened so fast. I saw black cars and bodyguards rushing toward us. Before I could process what was happening, I was standing inside the glass palace of Ethan Blackwood, one of the richest, coldest CEOs in the entire city. He had silver hair and piercing eyes, a presence that demanded the air itself to freeze. He looked at the child, then back at me. That boy was his son, Liam Blackwood. They called him Little Treasure. I was ready to explain, to apologize, but then he said, "Name your price." I blinked. For what? He said, "My son hasn't spoken to anyone in 2 years, but he let you touch him. He likes you, so you will stay." I laughed awkwardly because surely he was joking, but he wasn't. He offered me a contract to work as Liam's personal companion so he could recover emotionally. I tried to refuse, but then he added, "You want revenge, don't you? I have looked up everything about you. I can give you everything they stole from you." At that moment, I realized the devil was wearing horns. He was wearing a perfectly tailored suit. I signed the contract. As days passed, Liam clung to me like a shadow, and every time he looked into my eyes, I could feel something warm and familiar, like I had held and loved him before. His tiny fingers would tangle in my shirt whenever I tried to leave. He'd place his little notebook in my lap with a drawing of me smiling, as if he wanted to fix what was broken inside me. But the strangest part was Ethan. At first, he was like ice, unreadable, distant, and intimidating. Yet I often caught him staring at me like he was trying to understand me or remember me. We fought a lot over my freedom, over his attitude, and over his son's bedtime. But I couldn't deny it. My cold stone heart has started reacting to him. Liam fell asleep early that night, holding my finger like his favorite bedtime toy. I tucked him in and was about to leave when Ethan said, "Stay." Just one word, but it felt like a command my soul was eager to obey. We sat by the balcony overlooking the city. There was a big silence between us. Then he asked, "Why do your eyes always seem like you're searching for someone you lost?" The question hit me like lightning because I was searching for my stolen baby and for myself. And then Ethan said something that froze my lungs. 2 years ago, a woman was found unconscious outside a private hospital. Her newborn baby was taken into a child trafficking scheme. The child is my son, Liam Blackwood. My son was rescued, but his biological mother was never found. My heart stopped. I whispered, trembling, "What are you trying to say?" He looked at me with a softness I never seen from him before. "Emily, Liam might be your son." My heartbeat thundered in my ears. Liam, my son? The room spun around me and I felt sick. I gripped the edge of the balcony railing to steady myself. "No," I whispered. "That's not possible. My baby died. They told me." Ethan stepped closer, voice low but steady. "Your medical records were suspicious. The hospital was involved in a trafficking operation. The police recovered only one infant alive that night, Liam." I stared at him, trembling violently. "Why are you telling me this now?" He looked conflicted. This was the first real crack in his perfect armor. "Because when Liam saw you the first time, he reacted like he recognized you. He hasn't spoken to anyone in 2 years, but he clung to you instantly." Tears burned my eyes. My lungs didn't feel like they worked anymore. "Ethan, if this is true, why didn't you say something immediately?" His voice dropped. "Because I was afraid. Afraid that if I told you, you'd take him away." The honesty in his voice disarmed me completely. We stood there in silence. The city lights below blurred through tears I could no longer hold back. Then Ethan did something I never expected. He reached out and gently wiped a tear from my face. His touch was warm, soft, and almost protective. And in that moment, I hated how much I didn't want him to let go. The next morning, Liam woke up early, running straight into my arms as if scared I'd disappear. But the peace didn't last long. The news broke online. Emily Carter, secret mother? Illegitimate scandal? Madison claims Emily kidnapped Blackwood heir. Madison stood in front of the cameras crying crocodile tears, accusing me of being a fraud, a thief, and a liar. Jason backed her up, pretending to be a concerned ex. My blood boiling. Ethan squeezed my hand and said, "It's time we end this." We filed a lawsuit, exposing their crimes, stealing my identity, forging records, participating in the hospital cover-up. But Madison wasn't done. She leaked a fake recording implying Ethan and I manipulated DNA tests. Social media exploded. Investors panicked. Rumors spiraled all over social media. And suddenly, Ethan, the strongest man I've ever known, was fighting the world alone for my sake. Finally, I made my choice. Let me speak. I decided to organize a press conference. At the press conference, cameras were flashing and reporters were everywhere. My hands trembled, but my Liam stood beside me, holding my fingers and giving me courage. I spoke into the microphone. 2 years ago, I was drugged and left unconscious in a private hospital. My newborn baby disappeared. I was told he had died, but he didn't. He was stolen and sold. Gasps filled the room. That baby is Liam Blackwood, my son. And for 2 years, he didn't speak a single word until he called me mom. Liam stepped forward and hugged me tightly, proving every word. Then Ethan took the microphone. "If anyone believes I would frame results to claim a child not biologically mine, you don't know me, and you clearly don't know Emily. I would burn the world before letting anyone hurt my family." The room exploded into applause. And right there, Madison rushed forward screaming, "You don't deserve anything. Everything you have should have been mine." Security held her back as she kicked and screamed, her carefully crafted reputation shattering in seconds. Jason tried to slip away quietly, but police blocked the exit. "Jason Reed, you're under arrest for medical fraud and child trafficking involvement." The world finally saw their real faces. Justice at last. That night, after the chaos settled, Ethan took me to the garden behind the mansion, glowing with hundreds of tiny white lights. Liam held a small velvet box in his hands. He looked up at me, smiling shyly. Ethan exhaled slowly, voice trembling with emotion I never thought he possessed. "Emily Carter, you walked into our lives by fate. You healed my son. You healed me. I never believed in destiny. Until you." He knelt, taking the ring from Liam. "Would you let me love you for the rest of our lives? Would you marry me? Not for a contract or revenge or protection, but because you and Liam are my home." My vision blurred through tears. "Yes, Ethan, yes." Liam cheered, wrapping both arms around us, shouting the second word he'd spoken in 2 years. Family. The wedding was private, hidden from cameras and noise, just close friends, warm lights, and the three of us. I walked toward Ethan and Liam, my heart overflowing. For the first time, I wasn't the broken girl who lost everything. I was a mother, a wife, and a survivor. Ethan lifted my veil and whispered, "Welcome to forever." We kissed, gentle at first, then full of every battle we survived. And in that moment, I realized something. I wasn't living in the shadows anymore. I was finally home.